Okay, an update on all my tropicals to see how they've gotten through winter. Today is the first day of spring, and I warn you all, there will be blood and devastation and destruction. Not every plant has got through winter. Some have been limping through, some have been decimated. It's been a bit of a mixed bag. Today is, as I said, the first day of spring. We've got a nice 23-degree day scheduled or planned by the weather gods. And I'm about to move all of these plants out from under cover for a couple of days while we've got some warmer overnight temperatures. But I thought before I did that, we'll go through everything. And maybe before we even start that, let's have a look at the in-ground avocado. So this is the bacon avocado that's been in ground all winter. So as you see, there's nothing above us. It's just nestled in, kind of protected by that grassy plant and the feijoa hedge above it. This year was a lot colder in a winter compared to last year, much colder. Multiple days below -6 degrees, very cold daytime temperatures. It was a very hard year. But as you see, in general, this bacon has got through. It's lost some leaves, some leaf damage at the top of the plant, but underneath we've got fresh green leaves. The stem is fine down there. It's pulled through okay. So in a sheltered location, bacon avocado in Canberra does appear to be a go. Now, we didn't hit a really cold overnight temperatures which are possible here, the -8s, the -9s, -10s very rarely this year, but the trend each year seems to be for warmer winters, not colder. So you can see the leaves are spreading all the way back into there. This avocado likes its position because it provides shade from the western sun as well, so avocados are a bit sensitive to too much sunlight. So that's the bacon avocado in ground. Alright, now back to our tropicals and subtropicals. Let's look at some of the ones that have suffered the most. Let's start with this one here. Jambolan plum. Now, Jambolan none. This is very unhealthy. Whether or not it's still got... Oh, there's a bit of green I just scratched in there, so there's a bit of green in the bark. It's possible with these warmer days that this one will come back. Maybe it'll shoot from the base or shoot from one of those lower buds if it hasn't been totally killed through, but not doing very well. Guava. This is the pink guava. This one is, yeah, again, unhappy. There's no life on this at all. The stem does have lots of green, so just scratched. Difficult to get the camera in here like this, but scratched a bit of green on the bark there, so it is green on the bark. Brazilian cherry. These leaves are very dry and decimated. They're not quite dead. There's a very touch of green in there. Maybe with the warmer days coming up, that'll be enough to revive this plant. Macadamia. We lost one branch. Don't know why. Just could be normal attrition. In general, the macadamia pulled through okay. This white sapote actually lost some leaves just recently. I'm not sure why that is. You can see there's a little bit of discoloration around the edges of the leaf. Down here we have some yellowing of the leaves, but this plant is almost certainly going to be fine. This white sapote has continued to put on growth for most of the winter. It's doing really well, so very happy with this particular one. This one was yellowing before. We've seen it in the other videos and it's continued to do so. I'm going to give this one some nutrients soon. I think now that the weather's warming up and considering how much we can they seem to tolerate, I think a little bit of nutrient won't hurt this, and maybe it'll bring some green back in. This white sapote here looks fine. Looks like it didn't go through winter at all. Got a jaboticaba here. Oh no, I don't. I've got a Nangyapai. I did this in the last video as well. They look very similar, the leaves of these Nangyapai, compared to the leaves of a jaboticaba. They look very similar. Nangyapai's got through just fine, so looks really good. Kaffir lime is not subtropical. Acerola, we got 2 of these, and both of them looking pretty bad. Let's go right down here and scratch away. Quite thick bark on these things. It's hard to tell. Maybe I'll get some secateurs. I'll get some secateurs later and chop that and see if that's alive. Here we have a longan. This longan has had some damage to the end of its leaves, but in general it has pulled through okay. You can see some leaf drop down here on our black sapote, but at the top of the plant we've got fresh green leaves still. However, another black sapote that I have over here has not fared quite so well, and we have got death and destruction all the way down until right where it's kind of hidden by the outside of these pots. So this stem looks to be pretty well cooked all the way to about down here, and that will definitely, well, almost definitely come back as the weather warms up. We had, I believe this was an imbe. Now it's nothing. This is the large leaf Japoticaba, and this is the one that showed discoloration in the leaves at the start, and it's still a little bit discolored, but otherwise, this is another Japoticaba. Otherwise, they're looking fairly good. Well, they're not looking like they're going to die. Let's put it that way. What is looking like it's dead or definitely going to die is this. This stick here used to be a Rollinia. So this one is obviously very unhappy with life. Just looking at the stem, that stem looks dead. Give it a bit of a scratch down here. There is actually green in where I just scratched. So it's possible this will come back from the roots. These avos undercover, no problem. Avocados are definitely one of the hardier subtropicals that we can get away with in Canberra. Even if it's just covered a little bit in winter, these ones will be absolutely fine. I haven't seen a problem with them at all. This is the Madrono, where I knocked all the leaves off in the last video. It's still got some green in the stem, but it's got no leaves. This I find incredibly difficult to keep moist enough, this soil mix. I think I'm going to rip all of this soil out and replace it. I think that's probably not going to survive. Blue Java banana. Stem feels like it's got some strength in it, so even though it looks pretty shoddy, this one might actually come back and be fine with some warmer weather. Another Rollinia. This one again, cooked. I'm not going to scratch the stem like I did the other one. I assume there'll be a little bit of green in it. Maybe it'll come back. We'll only know with time. Now here we go, the MVP. Cherimoya. Look at this. Look at this. This is incredible. So all right, we just lost a leaf there. The very tips kind of got burnt there right at the end of the season, but not all of them. Not all of them. This here is a excellent result in my opinion for Canberra. Just under this cover here, nothing at all. I even removed the frost cloth on all of these plants over a month ago. The frost cloth was starting to get a bit tatty, kept coming off. It kept knocking my plants around with the wind. So I thought, look, what we're going to do is really going to test it out. We'll let these plants suffer through a winter as much as possible without very minimum protection, and we'll see if they can survive, if it's even worth trying in Canberra in any stage. What's not worth trying are mangoes. These are fried. So this is the Kiet. I never worked out how to pronounce that. It's definitely got green in the stem. I suspect it'll come back. It's actually quite green. The graft on this actually is quite high up. Look at this. So we've got a long way to the ground, relatively, for a grafted plant. And it is green above the graft. So maybe this will be fine. Maybe with a little bit of warmth. But up the top here, look, this is all horrible. And I was watching videos by another YouTuber who lives in Melbourne, Fruitopia, I think his channel's called, and he has just done a bunch of end of winter videos as well, and it's really interesting to see. watching his videos, the difference between Canberra and Melbourne. Now Melbourne, obviously, for those that don't know Australia very well, it's cold as well, but it's not Canberra cold. Not even close. Melbourne's in a zone 9B, we're in a zone 9A. But from a comment he made, which is really, really interesting in my opinion, he was talking about these channels that you watch overseas in America, and they're like, we're in Florida, we're in zone 9A, let's go check out to see how we're doing. And they're showing us all these pictures. They're showing us the Jopotacabas that are fruiting. They're showing us the star fruits that are alive. They're showing us all these tropical fruits that are getting through the winter. And I think it's important to remember that zone 9A and zone 9A are not necessarily even remotely the same. So zone 9A in Florida, maybe they do hit their -6 once a year. Maybe they do hit their -7 once a year. But what they don't have is night after night after night, -4, -5, -3, -4. They don't have daytime temperatures below 10 degrees for days on end. They don't have this continually hitting their plants. And this is something that I've learned when I've been growing these plants. I don't think it's the overnight temperatures. Back in April, we were hitting -6.3 and all the plants were fine. The daytime temperatures are still good. So we're fine getting through this. There was no issue. But once we started getting slogged into May, -3 every night, -4 every night, -2 every night, daytime temperatures 8, 9, 10, that's when they start to really suffer. This here, Achacha. Now these have surprised me. Now this one here looks pretty bad compared to my others. This one is in virtually the same position. There's a lot of green on the stems, so I'm not particularly worried. I actually think this one I might have missed a watering on, or I didn't water it deep enough. You can see I've got all of these other pots resting on it. So I've got this big pot, all those little ones. Maybe that's restricting some of the water that's getting into its pot, and maybe that's why this is browned off a bit. I don't know. Some of my other ones, and we'll go have a look at them now, I fared much, much better to this. A little bit of discoloration on these ones as well, but nowhere near as much. Green leaves, green leaves all the way down. So this one here, green leaves all the way down, a little bit of burning at the tips here. But as I said, for the last month and a half, there's been no frost cover on this. All these lights that I've got here, I haven't turned them on. I had these plugged into this power point here. And every time I watered the plants, I was like, is this the day I'm going to get electrocuted? So I turned them all off. And I thought, if I have to baby these through every single year, it's going to become a drain. If I imagine I baby these Rollinias through every single year, and then one year I just forget. And then I've invested 3 years worth of growth into it, and all of a sudden it's a frost, I've forgotten to turn the lights on, or the frost cloth blew off, or whatever the case might be. I've now lost that plant that I've invested all this time and effort into. I'd rather spend that time and effort on a plant that's going to get through, another white sapote, a plant that's going to get through with little help and little intervention, rather than all of these interventions. This is another white sapote. This one came quite late in the year from Daly's. It wasn't in this pot very long. In fact, it was already winter when it arrived, and you can see that it's fared much worse. I imagine that this is because it was coming from a protected nursery in Kyogle or wherever Daly's are growing their plants. Sent out to me, I put in a pot in the middle of winter, and now it's angry, very angry. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Going over here, another plant. Now this is a plant that was also in Fruitopia's video. He was growing them in his ground. Canistel. Now I lost the Canistel early on in the piece. The first plant that I lost was a Canistel. So this is the Canistel that I lost. So this plant here, I wasn't sure if I didn't water it properly. I thought it might have been a bit dry. So what did I do? I immediately jumped back onto the website on Daly's, and I bought another Canistel in the middle of winter. This is the second Canistel. So even undercover, now Fruitopia in Melbourne, Zone 9B, he had his in the yard covered with frost cloth. They come out, little bit of tip burn. They're fine. Mine, undercover, as far as I can get, under here, right next to the wall, so it absorbs all the heat through the day and radiates it out to the plants throughout the night. Cooked, absolutely cooked. Canistel, no go, not worth it. Maybe one day if I get a greenhouse, I'll try Canistelle again, but this is just too much. Maybe, let's scratch the bark on this one. Quite hard bark. That is green below the bark, if you can see that there. So maybe this Canistelle will come back. I don't know. Not a good sign. Not feeling hopeful. Carambola, one of the ones that we're always seeing in those videos in Florida. 9A. Look, my Carambola's doing great. This Carambola didn't do great. This stick here, it's hard to tell on the video, but you can see that this stick here has some green down there, and then it's just dead all the way up there. Dead. Or this stick here, it's dead all the way up. All the tips of these sticks, they're totally cooked. Now, whether or not this one grows back, I have a bit of hope for this one. I think it'll come back. You can see even there under here, under that that join in the sticks, there's a nice green mark there. And that kind of shows you that this has still got life in the stem at least. This is another Carambola that I ordered a little bit later in the year, came in winter. Looking a bit dry maybe. This one still has leaves on it. So this is a grafted one. Another weird graft. Look, they've left the... Oh no, they've joined it down the bottom there. Okay, I was going to say that they had left some of the rootstock growing through, but they haven't. So this Carambola is doing much better than the bigger one, but we'll see if it comes through or if it doesn't. Another one not doing too crash hot and was a late addition in the year, came in winter time, not just a few weeks ago. This is Amarella. This stem you can obviously see is still green. It's still in its disposable pot from Dailies. I didn't even pot it up. All the leaves are cooked, but right in the center there, you can see in the crown there is some new growth coming on. So that'll probably be fine. Blue Java banana. This one came through fine. Well, not fine, it didn't die. Blue Java, still got green leaves. This one's quite nestled close to the wall under that roof line again, so a little bit more protected. Now, speaking of bananas, look at the difference between these two bananas here. Side by side, these were both about the same size when they went in. And if you've been watching the videos in the earlier posts that I've made, you would have seen that they were looking all right for most of the winter. Nice green leaves, and in fact the one that's kind of still tall going up to the roof there, that one's still got a bit of green in it even now. This is surprising to me that these bananas got through like this. This one here is almost certainly going to keep growing without a hitch now that we're getting warmer weather. This one here, the big one with green, was a ladyfinger, and this one here, which used to be that high and is now only this high and is dead all the way down to the ground. Look, this pup, by the way, little pups on the bottom. Hard to get video. There's little green pups down there that are still fine on that ladyfinger. This one here is just dead. So we'll find out shortly if this Grand Nain has any life in it whatsoever, or if this is just cooked. What do we have? Hass avocado. This one's right on the balcony, right on the edge. So even some of the leaves are hanging out over into the unprotected area. It's doing really well. It's getting a nice thick stem on it. It's coming up here. I mean, we've got some leaf damage up the top, but nothing to make me think that this Hass avocado isn't going to be absolutely fine this year. I'm going to put it over near the bacon in a week or so, and maybe it will fruit for me. These, I killed a couple of them earlier on, and I replanted them. These are the ones I can never remember the goddamn names of. Pitanga tuber. These are Pitanga tuber. It's doing fine. Well, it's doing good. It's alive. And alive in my books is excellent. What have we missed? What have we missed? Back over this way. Here's one that we haven't looked at. We've lost the label for this. I think this is another longan. I think this is another longan. This one here, I think I ordered late in the year. That's why it's still in its daily spot. Came through probably in the same order as that second Carambola. So that longan's doing reasonably fine. Lychee. This is a Bosworth lychee. A little bit of discoloration, very similar to the beginning of the year, beginning of the season, but otherwise fine. I don't even know what this is. I ordered it recently. R. It was doing alright until the other day, so I don't know what's gone on with that. The weather's been a bit warmer, but what is this? I forget what that plant is. The Achiote lipstick plant. It's now a lipstick stick. No good. I might take it off there now. We have behind here another Japoticaba. This one was a bit smaller than the other ones, and this one is pretty much cooked. Not doing that well. One plant that did do well is down in the corner here, which is looking very, very green. That's a Wampy. Wampy looks like hasn't touched winter at all. No problems at all. So Wampy, add it to the can try list. This one here, this here was another guava. This was a white guava. It's another Pitanga tuber, doing less well than the other one, but another white guava. It's got one leaf green on it, so if it's got a single green leaf, that means it's alive. We'll put that one on the critically endangered list for today. Maybe it'll pull through in the next few weeks. This is another, this was the Brazilian or Mexican custard, another Rollinia. This one's cooked. Absolutely cooked. This is the Cherimoya that came through a little bit later in the year. Less time in a pot before winter, but it still has green leaves. So this Cherimoya, let's give it a passing grade. Hopefully that will come through in the next couple of weeks. This ugly looking thing right here, very dead. This is, what is that? That's another black sapote. Yeah, another black sapote. This is the Bernica variety. Okay, Bernica, not happy with life at all. So that's the graft, just there. Little bit of a green stick above that graft, but I think this one might have died back to the graft. There is some green in the branches. I know I'm not filming this very well, guys. I know there's some green in the branches, but I just don't have a lot of hope for that Bernica. Another mango here. Not worth it. Not worth your time. Don't try the mangoes. Alright, to sum up, winter time in Canberra with little protection. You can try white sapote, 10 out of 10. You can try Japoticaba. Japoticaba don't love it, but they'll get through. 6 out of 10. Macadamia nut. Lost one branch, otherwise fine. 8 out of 10. Avocados of all varieties, 9 out of 10. Cherimoya. Powerful plant. 8 out of 10. Good plant. Favourite plant of the whole lot. I'll be very pleased to get some fruit off this eventually. Acha-cha. Can try. Acha-cha. Surprisingly resilient. Surprisingly resilient. 7 out of 10. Give it a go. Bananas. Look, we don't know what's going to happen to this deadish looking one. Maybe it'll come back. But that ladyfinger, give it a shot. 7 out of 10. Mangoes. Don't bother. At least without a greenhouse. 4 out of 10. Guava. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. 2 out of 10. Maybe it'll survive. Probably not. Probably not. Acerola. 2 out of 10. 1.5 out of 10. These guys might come back, but they are looking pretty crappy. Longan. Surprisingly good. Excellent. Imagine it had a bit thicker stump, bigger canopy. I think it'd get through quite well. 7 out of 10. Lychee. A little bit more damage, but not much. 6.5 out of 10. Blue Java banana. Little bit of protection needed at this kind of younger age, but still alright. Give it a go. 6.5 out of 10. Wampy. 10 out of 10. Give that one a crack. It's worth it. Worth trying to get it through a winter time with some protection. Minimal protection. Nothing too extreme. What else have I missed in this collection? I think that's it, guys. I think you've got a pretty good overview of what's going on. Look at this Japoticaba. Looks fine, doesn't it? Looks great. This Japoticaba, as it gets older in time, it's going to be absolutely fine. So there you go. Bit of a wrap up. I know it's a longish sort of video. That's why I broke it up into 2 days. I'll kind of put them up at separate times, I think. Hope that's useful for anyone like me. I kind of sit on the internet Googling things all the time. Googling, will Cherimoya survive in zone 9A with minimal protection? Everybody says no. Cherimoya will die. If Cherimoya will die under 25 degrees Fahrenheit, which is -1 or 2. It's untrue. Cherimoya with a little bit of protection will survive down to -6, -7 easy. So I like to know these things. These white Sapoto, all over the internet, they give you different ratings. Some people say they're dead at 22. They're not dead at 22. They don't even falter at -6. They don't even give one care about being basically unprotected. They don't stop growing. They're great. Excellent. Love them. So guys, I will leave it here. If you enjoy this video, let me know. Mention something in the comments if it's useful to you. We'll continue to follow these as they grow into the spring. Some of these are going to go into the ground eventually. They won't all go into the ground, but some will. I'm going to try next year, hopefully, should I have the space, to put some in the ground and erect maybe a frost cloth around it. Something that will provide similar coverage to just having this kind of open space around here. So this is very little protection. Very, very little. Alright guys, have a great one. Catch you later.